patient and understanding the situations that we have, right? I think we are getting now. We are getting good. Everybody happy, sir? Fantastic. Without further ado, I want to introduce Gagan from 6R, who's going to take up the next session. But before we start, I do want to give some clarity, right? Like there are questions about the workshop sessions. That was promised for a few people, I'm not sure if you people are here, who kind of wanted to run the workshops. Okay, so because of the Wi-Fi situation, what we are going to do is we're going to continue to do the conference track right now, and there's still going to be Ketan Joshi from Google, who is going to give you guys a demo on the generative AI using his network. And we are going to do a remote session exclusively for you guys for free of cost, right? Like, so you guys can sit at home and do the exact workshop, which we probably may not be able to do, right? And I apologize for it, right? Like, certain things are out of my control, but I hope you guys understand and support us. There's also a DevOps workshop which has started in the third group, right? We will do that as well exclusively for these people today who have attended. And it's all for free, no cost, okay? So DevOps as well. And there's upcoming events like Cloud Essentials. We do plenty of that. Site level engineering, we focus on specializations within cloud technology, like machine learning. We have done like the chatbot creation, like a lot of stuff, right? So you can get benefited. Most of the time it's free of cost. Whenever we do it remote, we don't charge you, right? And I also want to welcome Janet from Google. So Janet has been flying from different locations as well. Everybody's trying to get here on time, right? So round of applause for Janet. So I hope I answered the question around the workshops. So nobody's going to miss anything. You're not going to waste time, right? Like you're still going to connect with speakers, workshop, the speakers are immensely great. So Derek, over to you.
Is that mic right?
This one? Hello, everybody. So myself, Gagan Singh. So you must be thinking, like, this is a tech conference, and what is this fashion guy doing here? Right? So I believe all the problems that we see in the world in different industries can be solved with technology, right? Especially the global issues, right? And in fashion, we have this massive issue that needs to be resolved, and that's called fast fashion crisis, right? Just to give you a little bit background on how fashion works and everything, like I'm sure everybody knows, but let me just, let's walk through some of the key components so we are on the same page, and then I can introduce our solution to you. So over a period of time, we know how to produce raw material, either it's cotton or polyester or whatever it is, and then turn them into fabric with whatever technology we have. We understand this process very well, right? So the first step, right? And we have, tech revolutions to produce high-tech fabrics, no problem in that area. So we all see latest trends and fabrics and different colors. So there's no issue, right? We also have a very good supply chain these days, right? So where you order today and you get stuff next day, right? So you order something today, you're getting it next day, even to a point where the technology is able to predict your human behavior, like consumer behavior, and predict what you're going to order next. We are at that level, So what is the issue? But what happens next? You buy stuff. Let's stick to the clothing as an example for today. So you buy your clothes, but what happens? What do you guys do to your clothes after you're done wearing them? Any? Garbage, donation, right? So the two types of customers, conscious and unconscious, right? So conscious one will say, hey, I will donate, right? Unconscious will say, hey, garbage, let me get a new one. No problem. No, I'm not pointing out like it's wrong or right. But point is, even the conscious customer, they donate, they think that they're preventing this to go from landfill. But the reality is 85% of our clothes still end up in landfill. That's a big number. That's a big number, right? So this is what happens after you're done wearing your clothes, right? So landfills get piled up, and eventually we burn it. That's a very, very wasteful way of looking at resources. So we, like, all the time and effort that we have put into creating our beautiful clothing goes to zero, right? So that's a big problem, okay? So if you look at high level, this is how our economy, the model looks like. It's called linear economy, right? So look from here to here. So resources, raw material turn into a product, and then those products are then shipped to you, and then you guys, buy it, take care of it. But eventually, it's piling up our landfills, right? So this is called linear economy, right? So whatever businesses that you see, if it's built on this model, the consequence is going to be the same, right? So it's not going to be any different. So if you, let's say, do a furniture business or any business, if we work on this model, then the consequences, things will end up in landfill, right? So that is what we identified as a Sixer team, that the main culprit of our current issue, why we see things in landfill, is linear economy, right? That's what we have to fix. So now the solution, let's talk about solution. So the solution, okay, so before solution. So fast fashion is built on linear economy, right? So which means now we're taking resources way too fast, right? Because it's built on linear economy. And we're consuming it too fast, and we are dumping it too fast, right? So that's the implication of fast fashion, right? Okay, so the solution will be simple, right? So to create a circular economy, right? Sounds simple, right? But the problem is, so we are the problem, basically, right? The problem is, how we going to take items from our wardrobe and put it back into the economy where we can process your clothes in the most efficient way, right? We cannot have a circular economy and then price our garments into $1,000, $2,000. That's not the solution. That's not a practical solution. We need a solution that works, right? That will be not as low as fast fashion, but not as high as, like, we cannot afford it anymore, right? So we need a practical solution. So our current supply chain breaks at customer level. Like, how do we take items back from customers? Like, how do we motivate customers to take part in sustainability, return their clothes in an organized way so we can process it and make into new garments, right? So the future of fashion is taking our old clothes and turning them into new clothes, right? That's the future of fashion, right? And that's called circular economy, right? So basically, if we solve this issue, then our economy will look like this. So everything will be turned back into new items, and we no longer would need new raw material, right, to produce garments. So which means if we're producing less cotton because we are recycling more, then more land is available to produce food and other things, right? That because to feed our growing population, we need more land, more food. But if we choose this route, then we can have more land available for food production. So I have a set of questions for you. Let's try to solve this riddle together, right? How many items of clothing do you have in your wardrobe? Like, just 500. 50, 50. Anybody? 12? Conscious. 200. Okay, so let's average it out, 250. Let's average it out, 250, okay? So now my next question is, I'm not asking at what price you bought those items for. I'm asking, what is the current value of those clothes? We all agree it's 0, right? Okay, so now hypothetically, because I'm trying to solve this with you, okay, just imagine. So hypothetically, let's assume that your current wardrobe, let's say 250, has $10 incentives or money, okay, $10 in each clothing item. So that adds up to 250 times 10, $2,500. That's a lot of money, right? Okay, so we all agree. So now you're holding these items for like 3, 4, 5 years, whatever that time period is. Let's assume that $10 became $20. Just assume. So now your $2,500 became $5,000. Now we're talking, right? That's a lot of motivation to take part in recycling, right? So what I would do, I'll say, hey, I'll give you your $5,000. You ship me those clothes back to me. Make sense? Make sense? Everybody? Right? And by doing this, just by doing that, we have created a perfect circular economy. Make sense? Okay. So that's what our solution is, Sixer, okay? We are a platform for brands. So brands will onboard this platform. We'll have customers who will buy, clothing for those brands. They're holding it. So now Sixer knows what everybody is holding and what is the composition of that garment. We're less interested in your personal information. We're more interested in garments information, so we can process it when it comes to the time of recycling, right? So because right now our current problem is, let's say even if we have to trigger circular economy, we won't be able to process it because we don't have any information on the garment. So let's say everybody who's sitting in the room send us their garments. We don't know what's coming to us. We don't know what the composition is. How are we going to process it? That process is very, very manual right now. But with our technology, it's going to change, right? So Sixer is the first platform, okay, which is going to incentivize customers to take part in the sustainability. Our garments will have a QR code, which will carry all the information about the garment, what color, what composition it is, right? So finally, when you're done with your garments, you use the Sixer app. Just say, hey, I want to send this garment to recycling. We'll create a shipping label, just like Amazon return. We all are very familiar with how to return items through Amazon. It's a very similar process. And once we say ship, like return this item, we'll give you the address of our recycling facility. So by doing that, we've created a perfect circular economy. Our recycling companies know what is coming back to us, so they can organize, and we can do this bulk. So once we do something in bulk, we save money. That's where this solution becomes very practical. So this is how essentially it's going to look like. So you scan the garment, and you just pack it, ship it back to us, and we will put it in the recycling facility. That's it. It's as simple as three-step process, right? So what we have done is motivated a lot of people, because I think money is one of the major motivation factor. So we motivated a lot of people to take part in sustainability, and we have streamlined the process for them, right? So we made it like really easy. So no, you don't need to think like what to do with your garment anymore. You just go on your app, ship it back to us, and we'll take care of the rest. And we'll turn your old garment back into the new garment, right? And you will have some money. It's not a cash rich scheme. $10 will never become $2,000. So don't expect that. So I just wanted to give you a little, like there's so many benefits of recycling. Right? I can't even count, right? So we save water, a lot of water, because if we are processing your black hoodies, let's say, black will be turned into black. No need for new dyeing and no need to use water anymore, right? So it's a very cost-effective process, right? Will reduce a lot of pollution, both sides, right? While manufacturing will, because it doesn't take as intensive production methods as the normal production method. Plus, when it will not reach landfills. Landfills, create a lot of greenhouse gases. So we are saving a lot of carbon dioxide, right? And then eventually it's not ending up in landfill. So it's a win-win and win for everybody. Win for the brands, win for the customers, and win for the planet. So I just want to introduce our first customer for tomorrow, which is BSI. So BSI, Brookfield Sustainability Institute, which is run by Luigi Ferrara, who's here with us. So the students have designed this first hoodie with Sixers principle, which will not end up in landfill with, of course, your help, right? So this, this design came out of Asia Ract, which happened exactly 1 year ago from today. A lot of students, I think 30 students participated in the Sharact to create this design. And if I may ask Jesse to come here to show a little bit. So this is the final product that looks like, a beautiful hoodie. It has a QR code. It's made from recycled material. It will not end up in landfill. So this is the first product that our students have created.
It's really comfy.
So if you have any questions, please feel free. And please scan the QR code to know more about Sixer and what Brookfield is doing together. Thank you so much. I'm ready for your questions. And if I may ask Luigi to come on stage with me to answer any questions that you have regarding this project. Questions?
So the companies that are making these fast fashion clothing, I think their priorities are not in sustainability. So how do you close the loop? Like, is this company going to impose garments into raw materials that is then provide to the companies producing the fast fashion? What's to incentivize them to actually stop producing it fast and make it more cost effective?
Do you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll take this question. So, this project grew out of an interesting sort of mix of academia and private industry working together. At the Brookfield Sustainability Institute, we realized that, basically the fashion issue in the circular economy is 15% of greenhouse gas emissions. It's a big, big part of it. So we wanted to tackle that. And what we wanted to do is use our own resources, our own students, our own campus, to totally develop a circular fashion brand and platform that would change that and serve as the model that industry would adopt. Because that's what we're doing at the BSI. Now, Gavin, who used to work with us and teach the sustainable fashion to our students, he had developed his own company and was trying to solve the same problem at the same time. So we came together and we joined forces. And I think this is really important because all the big complex problems we have in the future need people to come together, interdisciplinary and private sector and public sector to come together. So we worked together. We started working on analyzing how the fashion should be, what the sustainable fashion of the future should have. So that hoodie has remarkable characteristics. It is a zero waste pattern. It's designed for disassembling. It's designed with recyclable fabric. There's 7 kind of key principles that we developed that are in that fashion. And that should be in all the fashion that comes into the 6R brand. And we're promoting it And we're working with fashion designers and students and producers to start to adopt those principles. But then you need a digital platform to enable the knowledge economy and the circular economy to work. Because right now you have, I think it's 96% of the fashion goes back into the landfill, right? And even if it's recycled, without knowing exactly what you're getting, your recycling is never profitable. So the way it will work is by having that digital platform that has the information and knowledge about the products so that you can plan. So when you're receiving the material, you can already let suppliers who need to reuse the material know that material is coming that they can plan to use as they produce again. So it's really a supply chain exercise that uses the digital technology to make this all possible, right? And that's what 6R did. And it really grew out of Gagan used to run our fashion exchange where we produce fashion here at George Brown. We have a mini factory, right? And he understood the problem firsthand by having to produce and create fashion. What were the blocks, right? And how you would have to work differently. We have to digitize our patterns so that we can optimize results. There's all these little steps, right? And so we're going to be working together, first of all, to build this platform, to make sure that people are starting to use it, to prove that it works, so that then other brands like fast fashion brands like H&M or Todd and Frank, who are already trying somehow a little bit more greenwashing than actual to do the sustainability, they'll have the tool and the platform that they need to make it truly work. And it's not going to be work of a year. It's going to be work of the next 10 years to get the system up and running. But when it does, it's going to make a substantive difference for our planet.
Have you been able to model that impact? So like by the estimates that the digital platform will have compared it to the cost of their currently. So having to produce goods, it actually does work out on the larger scale for like
I'm looking for students or graduates or people in industry who want to join us and help doing that modeling. Yes, we're going to be doing that. We're busy building the first platform. It may not be perfect right at the start, but we actually need to do that kind of modeling. We did that for looking at what were the principles of sustainable fashion. Now we're going to have to start checking how the supply chain works and where there will be bugs, and also to prove the business model case so that we can accelerate the investment into this platform because it's solving a global problem.
Certainly, right. So I have a question. We showed on the screen was a closed loop of recycling sites, right? But there's only as many times when you can recycle one material, right? So what would be the recycle? Like how many times you can recycle one piece, for example, to keep it in the loop, or you have to be just
I think that question is for me. So it's a technical question, yeah. So yeah, you're right. So we cannot process for infinite time the same material. So that's one of the things that our platform will track as of how many life cycle it has gone through already. So each time it goes through a recycling process, the length of the fiber at micro level gets smaller, right? So we need to add new raw material to it or a different raw material to it to make the strength. So right now, I don't have all the data, but you can at least do it 2 to 3 times if it's a natural fiber. But if it's man-made, then you can do it maybe 4 to 5 times.
There's also secondary uses that it can go into, insulation, etc. Once it's gone through its cycling. So it's also part of planning the larger opportunities for reuse.
Yeah, so finally, like where we're going with this is finally when something cannot be recycled anymore, we can turn them into different products like tiles, like home products and things like that. So it's still kind of usable, but yes, you cannot make garments out of it each time.
So how, so let's say if someone were to return, I know that it's really soiled, right? And would you still be able to recycle it if like it's really good?
Yeah, we are not expecting we will get back the brand new items as is. We are expecting it will be ripped, it will be soiled, it will be all kind of stuff, right, that we have to deal with. But once it goes into the recycling process, we'll fix everything. We'll take out the soil. We'll, whatever we need to do to create the new fiber, we will do that process. So it's a part of the processing.
So how do you ensure? I'm guessing this is a platform, not like a vertical integrated like solution. So how do you ensure that the recycling facility is using the resources effectively, so that the cost of recycling is actually less than the cost of producing a new one?
So the good news is recycling companies already exist. It's not something new, but the job that we are doing is not effective. Right now they're running at very high cost, right? So what our plans is to partner with them and bring the cost down of recycling. There's various ways of recycling. Shredding is just one of them. There is chemical recycling, right, where you chemically you turn cotton into viscous type syrup, and then you make fiber again, and then so this whole there's 4 or 5 ways of doing recycling, right? So our goal is to create a solution that create a circular economy. I'm not gonna say that we are going to be the recyclers ourselves. We are not going to be recycler ourselves, right? So we're gonna just partner with those recycling companies, brands, and consumer to make sure that the whole system works and nothing goes into the landfill. That's what our mandate and our goal is.
I want to know one thing. There are many markets available for recycling. Then why you have chosen only fashion? Like how can fashion be different from other markets like EVs?
Because I come from fashion, so it's obvious, right?
Yeah, but this solution may be transferable. And actually, by building the platform and having one working version of a circular economy, then you can extract and move to another sector and see how you can make it work in another sector. We're going to be doing that with our research at the Brookfield Sustainability Institute. Right after fashion, we hope to move into building materials for construction and look at how we do that circularly in that sector too.
And also to add, fashion is the most complex problem. Like all the other sectors are relatively easier. I'm not saying it because I come from fashion, because I know that it's the style changes, the material changes, the supply chain is broken, like all kind of stuff is happening in fashion. Whereas other industries are more controlled, by the government, and there's regulations to make sure that we produce good quality and stuff like that. But in fashion, the regulation level is quite low.
Can you explain the numbers of it? Like, if I buy this hoodie from Zara for $20, how much Zara is paying to manufacture this without recycling? And after your solution, what would be the cost of it? And like, how is it possible? Because most of the cotton is produced in developing countries where there is cheap labor, farmers are paid so less. How is it practically possible that you will recycle product anywhere in the world, even or if in Canada, that's I think impossible to give the raw material, recycle raw material to manufacturers at a lesser cost than they can procure it from developing world for cheaper. And my second question is related to also about this platform as well. Like, is it going to generate profit for your company, or currently from where the money is coming from to build this platform?
Okay, so first question first. So we are not trying to compete with fast fashion. So our clients are different. Our brands that will onboard this platform will be different. We are not trying to compete the same model, because that model doesn't work. We are trying to fix that model, right? So, and regarding the cost, we cannot dictate the cost of a cost of goods, because our brands will tell this is the cost of making it, and they are our customer. They will onboard on our platform, just like Amazon, right? So they will find out the costing and everything. But how this will help a customer, you can see the entire supply chain in our Sixer, which no other platform does. So you can see where our clothes were made, like which factory, all the hands that touched our clothing. You can see the entire supply chain clearly through our platform until it reaches the recycling facility. So you can see through our platform that now my item has actually ended up in recycling facility and not and ended up in the landfill.
Okay. So I'm sure there's many more questions, and I'm so happy that you guys want to engage. But we have a time check as well, so we're going to move on to Ketan Joshi. But we could have Gavin and Louis still with us, right? So after the panel session, they're going to be here for a while. You guys can connect with them. Okay? Okay. Thank you so much, Gavin.
One last thing. We're launching soon on Kickstarter. Please keep an eye on Sixer and for tomorrow.
Okay, so over to you, Ketan. So Ketan Joshi is from Google. He's a solution architect and an expert in Gen AI as well. So he's going to share his Gen AI knowledge with you guys.
Put it on his shirt, just a clip, right? It's a green and top.
Get my slides. There is audio with it, right? There is audio. You can go to your email. Go to your email. Open this. Just click once. Open with slides. No, perfect.
It's all yours.
Okay.
You have a clicker?
Sorry?
The clicker?
I say yeah.
Just right click, then you go to the next tab.
All right. Hello. So hi. Welcome you all to the DevFest 2023. Very glad to be here and presenting on this very exciting topic of Gen AI. I think this is one of the very sought after technology in today's world because it has like endless results, right? I think somewhere, even though you are tech savvy or you are from a non-tech background, every one of us is actually using Gen AI in their day-to-day lives, right? I would like to say that this technology has existed for a long time now. It's just that we have started realizing it on a very different level these days because everyone today is talking about it, right? So my agenda would be to at least introduce you to what Gen AI is, how it came into existence, and obviously it is not perfected. There are challenges with come with Gen AI, and we are always kind of up to date with what is happening in technology. Like people are trying to regulate things and how Gen AI is being regulated in today's day. So this is something that I would like to share with you today, right? Oh yeah, sorry. Is it better? Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay. So I would like to introduce myself first. I work as a solutions consultant at Google. I have roughly 6 years of experience in IT. Primarily worked on cloud computing, DevOps, cloud security, creating cloud architectures for enterprise organizations. So I come from a background where I understand why companies are moving to cloud these days. And in addition to that, why are companies so curious about integrating Gen AI in their existing system, right? How is this going to benefit their company in a way? So I would just like to ask if anyone here is aware of Gen AI, what it stands for, or any first impressions that you have of Gen AI. Yeah, go ahead.
Pre-trained models.
Pre-trained models. Yeah.
AI, like it's a one level up of AI.
Okay. Yeah.
Prediction of some text and images on the basis of search.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think everyone has a fair understanding of what Gen AI is, right? It's basically you are communicating with someone, asking for them to give you something, and it probably produces it for you, right? It generates something. So this is the agenda. We will see what Gen AI is, like you rightly described. We will see exactly what it is, like every term of it. We'll see how Google has aided this revolution of Gen AI. Just to be fair, like Google has been the founding father of LLMs, which are like large language models. So the entire Gen AI technology is based on that LLM modeling. Then we'll see how how Google is helping these enterprises to improve their day-to-day activities and their customer base using Gen AI. Okay. I will also showcase a portfolio of AI tools that Google Cloud offers, which we were supposed to do a demo on today. But no worries, we can stay connected, and like the what it is already mentioned, we will be doing a full hands-on demo later sometime. And then I'll open up for question and answers. Okay. Okay. So I think we've already answered, like we've already seen you guys are aware of Gen AI, but we'll move ahead. So just a thing, we had a Google I/O event, which is a big event throughout the world, and I would like to show what is the craze of Gen AI even in the minds of the leadership at Google, right? Sundar Pichai talking about it, right? So just a minute. Oops. Okay, I hope it plays.
Just let me know. I will help
Oh yeah.
you, okay?
Yeah. I think I was trying to play the video.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which one?
this one.
Can you just tell me the name of it? Maybe I will try to.
You'll have to. That's okay. Or maybe, okay, what I was trying to show is basically the emphasis that Sundar Pichai basically gave on generative AI in his I/O event. This clearly shows the inclination of Google Cloud towards AI and how it has started incorporating AI in every tool that they have right now. For example, if you are using Google Slides, that is the PPT tool from Google. If you are using Excel sheets on Google, if you are using Word documents on Google, everything is integrated with Gen AI in this day. Okay, so I just wanted to show you a glimpse of that, but I think we have an internet issue, so that's fine. Yeah, moving ahead. Yeah, it's okay. Oh, okay.
Can you see my shoes?
All right, I think we have a team who's working on it. So anyways, going ahead, like since we are talking about Gen AI, do you guys have a distinction in terms of AI versus ML? Because we've been hearing these lingos everywhere, right? But do you know what exactly is the difference between machine learning, say, artificial intelligence? What is a subset of what? And yeah.
Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence.
Okay. And what is the difference between them?
We generally do with deep learning things in AI, but in machine learning, we just mostly try to do prediction on a basis of a particular data.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
like some linear models and regression models.
Right. Yeah. I can say you're partially right about AI. I will be covering about deep learning as well, like where it stands. But let's give them a couple of minutes. Yeah, it's not audible, right? Yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. We can just go ahead with the PPT.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah. All right.
Just let me know.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So AI. So I like to see AI as a discipline. Okay. AI is not a technology. AI is not a tool. AI is not something that you pick up. It is a very big discipline. The main role of AI is to impart or to design a framework, to design some processes, to design some tools, which allow machines, or rather, I would say agents, agents to learn human intelligence. Okay, so that is a discipline. Like I've written, AI is basically a field of CS, which deals with creating intelligent agents. Okay, and now once we have set frameworks in place, we use machine learning algorithms which kind of help us to implement those frameworks. Okay, so machine learning is basically a subset of AI, where we kind of design algorithms. So all the algorithms that you see are part of ML, and obviously it encompasses within AI. So everything, that the coding that you see, the model designing that you see, falls under the bracket of ML. Okay. Now, what used to happen earlier is machine learning were very linear. For example, you had a certain problem, say at X age, you would get this rate of interest. So at Y age, what will you get, right? So this was a very basic problem that people were trying to solve earlier. But as the number of variables started increasing, as the nature of the problem started getting complex day by day, these simple calculations were no longer effective in real world, or rather you can say these were no longer the problem that the world was trying to solve, right? So we needed a model, we needed a formula that would rather work on complex nature of complex problems, and that is how we devised into deep learning, right? So what is deep learning? Deep learning is, you can say, is kind of multinodal. It has multiple. It works on neural networks, by the way. So when you hear neural networks, you think of deep learning. Okay, how neural network works is basically it has multiple neurons. Okay, each information is passed from one layer to another, and from second layer to another. Basically, it keeps filtering. It keeps learning from the feedback. It keeps filtering. It refines the model. It keeps learning, and then there comes a point when you have trained the model enough that it can work on the outside world. Okay, I will show you some examples on deep learning. So yeah, so this is how neural network works. Basically, you give the input as you have, let's say, 5 properties for a cat. Okay, the fur, 4 legs, ears, color of the fur, and those things. So by giving these properties to your model, it understands that, okay, whenever such a property is found, you have to attach it a label of cat. So whenever you throw an image at it, it will go through the past records looking at the properties. Oh, this matches cat, so this has to be a cat. So that is how neural network learns. Okay, the very first time it is all garbage. Like you will see, oh, you gave an image and it is showing it's a snake, right? So it has a property of learning and improving on itself, and that is where neural network comes into play. And the entire study is called as deep learning. Okay. So now, within deep learning, we have a predictive AI model. That is what I explained, right? You give an input to a model, it will give you an output. So that is kind of predicting, right? I give you an image. What is this? Or for example, you want to say that, oh, at X age, I am getting this percentage of returns. At Y age, what will I get, right? So based on all the learnings it has done, it will predict the value of Y. So basically, it's a very linear and simple function. So that is where we had predictive AI. But in this new age, we are getting creative day by day. We don't just want predictions. We want something new. Okay. So I will tell you, okay, I am going on this trip at this place. Can you give me a very curated plan for it, or maybe an itinerary? So this is where we felt the need of having generative AI in place, right? Okay, first of all, just step back. Where all predictive AI is being used right now, right? It was being used for click prediction. Like I said, this thing was already existing for a very long time. When you see, you see the perfect recommendations on your playlist, you see perfect recommendations on YouTube, on your Amazon apps. Everything was basically due to predictive AI. Okay. Then in the banks, this was a very big thing because we were automating the fraud detection technology, where if you make certain transactions which were suspicious in nature, things were automatically detected using this technology of fraud detection. And yeah, this is majorly where predictive AI was being used. Then coming to generative AI, like I mentioned, we felt the need of getting something very curated, getting something similar to what we have in mind, or something that we want to describe and see a visual of. So that is when generative AI came into picture. So yeah, so we now have, everyone has used ChatGPT, Bard, and such technologies, which are basically based on text-to-text generative AI, where we give certain input, basically called as context. We give some context to the model. You say, for example, we were having a prompt engineering session earlier, where you kind of state that you are a chef, you are a teacher, you are a XYZ person. So the model understands what is the context you are talking in, right? It started becoming more of a conversation eventually. Similarly, text to image, you describe an image that you want. if you have used Adobe products, Photoshop and these products, they have integrated this technology very well. You describe something and it produces an image out of it. Then we also, these days, we have like Mid-Journey and stuff, where you can actually put some text and you get out a video out of it, right? This is not it. This is not limited to these examples. We have audios. We have so many other things which are being used right now. So that is what I explained, right? So then we have LLM. So LLM is basically large language models. These models are specifically based on neural networks, which do the job of showing you results that you are kind of wanting to see, right? This is the underlying technology that you will see in every application that you are using right now, right? It is due to LLM which models are kind of able to relate between phrases, right? You say something, you describe 2 lines, and there is no context from the naked eye, right? From a human perspective, there is no link between these 2 sentences, let's say. But due to these LLM models, they are able to analyze tens and hundreds and thousands of variables that could be present in that statement and give some kind of correlation between those 2 statements and produce a result out of it. Okay. So why are LLM different? Like I mentioned, LLM, the main, if out of all these 4 points, if anything you have to take away is they understand context. Okay. You can give them a context and the model will understand from where you're coming from, basically. What is your thought process behind this question, or what is your thought process behind asking such a question? Right now, I would say, for example, ChatGPT and Bard, right? You tell them something, they produce the exact result that you're expecting. Why? Because it is nothing, it is basically Google search, but on steroids, right? That's what it is. It kind of understands what you're trying to say and then gives you results accordingly. Okay. So this is where I was talking about how does machine learning work, right? For example, at the start, you start giving them images, for example, apples and oranges. You feed your model with such images, various types of oranges, various types of apples, and you define the variables. For example, red, so color is a variable, size is a variable, texture is a variable. And then according to the variables, it will assign a label to it, okay? Similarly, once this model is trained on this, it knows that what sort of properties apple has, what sort of properties an orange has. So when you feed in the test data, it will analyze the image, it will analyze the inputs, and it will tell you what this particular object is supposed to be. Is it supposed to be an apple or is it supposed to be an orange? This is how your machine learning used to work. Yeah, this is what it is. Just a better representation. You give data, you give labels. You tell the model that, okay, these are the properties, this is an orange. Okay, now go ahead, train yourself, and whenever I give you an image next time, you better guess it well. Okay, this is what you're going to do. This is what we were doing in machine learning. In generative AI, what we are doing, we are not going to give them all the relations. We are not telling them that this is an orange, this is an apple. We are just saying, okay, this is an object, it has such color and everything. And the model is capable of learning a lot between the lines and then giving you new content. You say, I have this orange, make it very handsome. It will kind of give it good hair and good body and everything. So imagination is the limit, right? So that is what we are doing with Gen AI right now. Yeah. This is a better representation where I've shown traditional programming where you used to define properties in a JSON format. Then when neural networks came in around 2012, you were kind of telling them what this object is and next time asking it to guess. And now we are just giving the person an entire encyclopedia and asking questions around it, right? So whatever you feel like, it becomes more like a human interaction. And these are the very well-known models that are being used right now. Lambda, Palm, GPT, etc. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I know this was a lot, but do you guys have any questions around this so far? Yeah, please.
Okay, if our artificial intelligence, it's just a data set that we give it. So now, let's imagine that it is a box of our intelligent artificial intelligence. Okay, so can it go out of the box?
Can it go out of the box?
Yeah.
You mean the training set?
Like how soon it will generate from the data set.
Okay.
More than
Yeah. So basically, when you train your model, right, there are some guardrails that you can set. So when you're training your models, you have the data with you, the training data set. At the same time, you also have certain parameters. For example, how random do you want your model to produce outputs? What is the randomness? What is the probability? Right? You can set these kind of parameters, and you can definitely define how out of the box you want that imagination to be. So definitely that is a possibility.
Thank you.
Yep. Right.
I really described that an LLM, like ChatGPT, that what it's actually doing when you give it some prompts is trying to predict what the next response will be.
Yeah. Right.
So can you speak to that subtle difference between Gen AI and predictive AI?
Okay. Right. So when you say predictive AI, it is kind of predicting. You give them a set of values, right? You are feeding some requirements, or you are giving some properties to the model and asking it to predict what is it going to be like. For example, weather forecast, right? There is no Gen AI in it. You see that the clouds are going to be at this position, the wind is going to flow at this rate, and you have to predict what sort of weather it is going to be on that day. So that is more of predictive analysis, right? When you say generative AI, you are just being creative. Okay, I am, let's say I want a dog which is flying in the air. So there is no prediction, it is generation, right? So that is the difference between prediction and generation, basically, in the AI model, right? Yeah, right.
So I saw the previous slide for it was something about emergent abilities or
Oh, yeah.
or classes that were not included in their training examples.
Yeah.
What are these emergent abilities of large models?
You're saying this one, right?
Yeah, emergent abilities.
Yeah, emergent abilities is that is what I meant. By emergent, I meant you are not expected to give them more inputs. The model is self-sufficient to understand the input, learn from it, understand what is the difference between the expected output and the current output, and it will try to train itself so much that the gap between the expected and the real output kind of minimizes. So that is why it is called as emergent abilities. It does not require any additional extra coding for it. It is self-capable of learning from the feedback that was from the previous model. When I said neural networks, from the previous neuron, it takes feedback and puts it back into the system, learns from it, and goes ahead. That is why it is called emergent, like it has emergent abilities. That is what I meant. Yes.
Artificial intelligence is growing so fast now, and what are your thoughts about if it will replace human?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think we are all worried about it. We've spent a dime on learning technology, and suddenly we realize computers replacing us, right? Yeah, not an ideal situation, but yeah, I don't think that is ever going to happen. That there will be certain tasks which will be automated using AI. but so basically human brain will be used to produce something else, something better. So there will always be opportunities opening up because of these progresses that is being made right now. It is never going to happen that it replaces human. It will replace certain sort of tasks that we do today, right? For example, chatbots, right? Today, every website has a chatbot. If you see, it is just trained model basically talking to you on basic things. So you don't want to set a team who is answering those questions. You are replacing that team. Maybe they can be utilized in some other way for customer fulfillment, customer success, or something else, right? So it will always be swap of work, not replacement of human, I would say, right? Yeah.
As we saw the progress from deep learning to predictive AI and then generative AI and now LLM,
Yeah.
what's next? Like,
Yeah. So I think people, enterprise today are very curious on generative AI. I think for next few years, generative AI is going to lead. I'll tell you some use cases which generative AI has for organizations. So when you talk about LLMs, there are two offerings. One is from a consumer perspective, and one is from an enterprise perspective. Okay. Today, when we are using ChatGPT, we are using Google Bard. We are actually from a consumer perspective, right? We are only generate an email for me, generate something NSA for me, or this generate an image, this sort of thing. But when it comes to organization, I'll give you an example which we are actually using in our customers use case. So suppose an organization, a huge organization with thousands and lakhs of employees. Just imagine the amount of data their employees producing on a day-to-day basis. For example, I create my own. Very basic example. I have a process. Suppose I learned something that this is the task I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do. I documented it, right? Similarly, like me, there are going to be thousands of people who document their own understandings, right? And that is spread across the organization. And at the time of actually finding that, we are not able to find it, right? So what we are doing is with Gen AI, we are trying to offer enterprise search offering with Google Cloud, right? What it does is basically collects all your data sources. It could be PDF, structured, unstructured, your databases, anything that has data in it, right? So it kind of creates a library for yourself. So basically the Google search that you do online, the companies can do Google search or basically a search within their organization data. So this is the kind of revolution that we are trying to build, right? And I think for next few years, we are also getting into, we're partnering with several big organizations which can help train our data on healthcare. For example, we don't need to visit doctors these days. You have online consultations. You can submit your X-rays, MRIs, and it can detect whether you have a problem with that or you don't have a problem with that. Yeah. Sorry. Whether it's malignant, whether it's benign, these things are actually in place right now. Self-driving cars is a big example, right? So this is just the start, I would say. For next, I mean, this has to pass. Like it's going to be there for a while. Yeah.
Small question about the presentation itself.
I'm sorry. Where is it? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So one question about the presentation itself. Previously, you had a couple of slides where you had we provided JSON to the JSON.
Yeah. Traditional programming. Yeah.
The last one was about the generative AI that we create structured data and then LLM understands it. What was in the middle? You showed in the middle.
Yeah. Middle was where the neural networks came in, 2012. Let me go back. Oh, where was it? Yeah. The wave of neural networks. So this is what we have been being taught in school, right? C programming, basic Java and stuff. This is what we were doing. This is the neural networks, and this is a generative AI thing. So yeah, this was it.
This will be the last question.
with all the pros of generative AI, how will this cons? For example, people are using Gen AI to create fake pictures or create fake voices and
Correct.
scam people. So
Right.
how are we gonna look at that?
Right. I think very good question, because this is a major concern today. People are worried about how do you know what is real, basically, right? So I can talk for Google Cloud, because with our products, the outputs, the images, the videos that we're trying to produce we will try to ensure that we always have a metadata associated to that image. So metadata is basically, what do I say? Metadata is basically the information, the details that you see for an image, right? So this metadata will always be associated to whatever is being generated through our models. That way, whenever, if at all there is a requirement of, to check the authenticity of the object that you're trying to scan, you will always get to know from that metadata whether it was generated through models or is it an actual image. So yeah, that is a work in progress, a very important one. There are so many regulation compliances trying to catch up with the kind of regulation that should go in place, right? So that is a work in progress. But yeah, for now, I can. What I know is metadata is one way we are trying to solve that. Yeah. Done for that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Can we have a huge round of applause for you?
So we have some different prizes as well, and like asking the right question is the right meaning of learning. So on that note, I'd like to ask whose question is something you find more insightful or something which was a great of value. So we'll have a bit for something to ask the best question accordingly.
Yeah, I think the last lady, the last question, because it is really important. People are just talking about the benefits of Gen AI, right? Whereas there are more cons. Rather, I would say an unexplored area. So I think that was a very good question.
All right, and you come down and round of applause for somebody who is asking question. So Devta, we have a team and volunteer. Yeah. So Jason, can you hand over the gift to the lady?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking and interacting. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. It was awesome, and it's a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, Hilton, one more second we'll take for a small token of appreciation for your time. And all the invitation in the room. And I can see the questions are going. For the sake of the time, we have to give it a hard stop.
Oh, yeah.
So, a small token of from our side.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the next segment we have, and we are going towards the close of the session, so let me know, let me tell you what's going to happen so that you can coordinate by the period. And is we're gonna have a talk about the tech demo. You can coordinate with your real life, and you can.
I'm so nervous.
You know, we are so lucky to be on with you this guy.
This is like my first.
Speakers that you already heard. You have some questions you will ask.
I had one more beautiful slide, but I couldn't because the audio isn't working. That was amazing. If that people would have seen that.
From the perspective, remaining tech perspective, we'll take a similar kind of thought process and we'll try to see how different thoughts and different brains and kind of emphasize on certain areas. So it's not always about technology running in silos. It's also about technology collaboratively working together for a common cause. So that will be the nature of our panel discussion. Don't miss that. Prior to that, we had request David, who is going to talk about David, but will not talk about himself. So let's listen to David what he will be talking about, and I'm pretty sure you all will coordinate. So hello guys, and here we go. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This year to be part of DevFest. It's a pleasure to see you all today. I'm going to start this chat with a question. Please raise your hand if you ever felt frustrated in your job search. Everybody else felt the frustration.
And I want to connect the dots with the guys from Six Serve mentioned. When we talk about fashion, they said probably because it's us, right? Because we're just buying, wasting. In the job search, probably as well, the problem is us, because we have not taken the time to increase our self-awareness so that we can convey our message effectively to an employer. And we're also focusing on all the noise that happens externally, like we are in a recession, there's hiring freezes, the recruiters ghost me, and unfortunately, those are things that are part of the process, but are out of our control. So my name is David Mendoza. I'm the CEO of Orbit 5. We are a job search platform that trains students and grads to land jobs within 15 weeks or less. And today, with Orbit 5 CTO Urvish Patel, we're going to introduce you to David, which stands for Digital Assistant for Vocational Guidance. What is vocational guidance, you might ask? It's a fancy term for job search. And September 23rd, we launched our first AI product, a resume builder that will help you convey your message effectively and confidently. So you tackle that problem that you're having of not taking time to ask yourself who you really are and what is the value that you effectively bring to the employer that you're talking to. Now, the goal or our desire is to help leverage technology to support students and grads to convey their value in a confident and concise manner. And now Urvish, he's going to do a demo of how you can start using David as part of your job search process utilizing AI.
Am I loud and clear? Yeah? Okay. So, this is the resume builder. As you can see, we used ChatGPT, GPT-4 AI, and used a lot of prompt engineering with help of our friend Paul here. When he introduced prompt engineering and asked me, Urvish, why don't we, instead of creating the whole database, why don't we just use prompt engineering? And he was like, Urvish, let's use tree of thoughts. I was like, is these trees with actual leaves? And then he explained me the actual tree of thoughts process of prompt engineering and several other processes as well. And we came up with this thing. So let's say you wanted to create a professional summary. How many of you know like what is professional summary? Yeah, it's basically a UVP statement, unique value proposition statement of what you can do it, right? So let's say I have skills with, I'm looking for software developer role. And I know JavaScript, React, and HTML. So something like this, you can just create it with giving like really less inputs. Why? This is the best tool in the market, because we literally used David's style of creating a resume. Used all the fundamentals that David knows about the resume, and trust me, this year he reviewed 2,000 plus resumes for all the students. And some of his resumes that he created, those students landed interviews, more than 15 to 20 interviews within 3 months of span. You can check it out my LinkedIn with, and you can like talk to those students as well, because I give them shout outs all the time.
So one thing that this thing is doing is also helping you combat writer's block, because sometimes you're going to write the resume and then you just don't know what to talk about or how to hook the employer's attention. So this introductory statement is very important. Think about it as a movie. When you go to a movies, the first thing that happens when you sit down, they show you a trailer, right? And if you're into action movies, and then they show Fast and the Furious, you're gonna say, you know what? When the movie comes out, I'm gonna make the investment and come and watch it. But if they show you like a drama movie or something, you're like, I'm gonna maybe watch on Netflix, if anything. So this part is actually like the trailer of your resume. And if you're having writer block, you just add a couple of keywords and prompts, and it will give you something to start working with. And you, of course, you can adapt it and adjust it as you go in through the writing process.
Also, you can create your resume bullets with this thing. Like easy, just JavaScript. Use like whatever relevant bullet points you want. Just give him a little bit short waist, right? Like you just need to change your numbers and everything, and use it on your resume. Easy.
Mm-hmm. So another problem that this tool is helping you solve. Most of the resumes, those 2,000 resumes that I reviewed this year, all of them were task-based resumes, where you're just saying, develop a new technology, manage social media channels, but you are not talking about what's the impact of those actions. So by using these prompts, the tool will give you some options that will mimic the things that you have done and you have accomplished, most importantly. And then you choose the one that resembles more to your reality. And then again, you have to make the changes if need be.
Next functionality I wanted to show you is the resume score functionality. You just upload your resume. Unfortunately, I don't have any resume in this computer, but just upload any resume and it will give you a feedback that you can implement it right away. And this feedback, it's the exact same method that David uses it. So it's gonna make your life easy. It's gonna help you to land your resumes to the actually reader's hand, on hiring manager's hand, not stuck in the ATS system.
All right, so technology is us. You know you're here because you understand that technology is not going anywhere. Artificial intelligence is not going anywhere. So what if we use it to our advantage and to, again, craft better stories that we can use to hook an employer and show them that you add a lot of benefit into the teams that you will bring when you join their teams. It's very important to come up with powerful statements that showcase your value in this ultra competitive market. All of you are very interested in technology and you have very important technical skills, but if you don't have the ability to convey that value effectively to an employer, you will not get the job. So imagine if on top of your technical skills, you develop the ability to promote your message and yourself in writing first while you collect the content that you can use in your interviews, and by practicing how you want to convey this content, you then translate these messages into your job interviews and your work networking approaches. You combine your technology acumen with your communication skills, and you will be unstoppable. And that is the work that Urvish and I are doing right now to help you expedite your job search prospect. We are going to give you access to this, right? Yes.
Yeah. So before I talk about the access, let me give you some brief overview about some other parts of this system. So we are populating this system with a lot of tutorials related to your job search. And trust me, this is not like something that you'll find it on internet. This is like everything hands-on tutorials, right? Like all the strategies that we know it for the job search over here in this month, most probably. And events that we are hosting it, you'll be able to get access of those events as well. We do like one big event every semester, Future Makers. A lot of you have attended it or past two events, and it was pretty good as well. So, and our newsletters. Some of the next part will be cover letter generator, networking messages generator. Also, we are scrapping all the jobs available in World Wide Web. So you don't need to like manage different portals like Indeed or LinkedIn when you look for the job. Everything available on World Wide Web, you'll find it on this portal. Now, let's talk about pricing, right? Pricing. Oh, yeah, my pocket is burning now. So, my question is, for this hall, right, whoever is available over here or live streaming, what should be the price for this system? Paul, what should be the price? Free, right? Okay.
$3.99.
$3.99? No, because Paul said free, so I'm going to honor his word. For next 4 months, I'll try my best to give you unlimited AI access for next 4 months. Right now. Oh, can you please open this so I can share? Right now. Sounds good? Yeah? Yeah. All you need to do is fill out this form, and if you find any bugs, because I'm not going to launch this system for next 4 months. You guys will be the first users of this tool.
Wait, so is this alpha or beta?
It's a beta. We already have 200 users online. They are using it, and you guys will be the one of them. Next 200 or 400. I don't know like how many people are watching me right now online. I look like I'm good. So it's a better version, and after that I'm gonna launch it to the actual production. All you need to do is just open your phone. And go to this URL.
So
bit.ly/David-DevFest.
bit.ly/David-DevFest.
And also the 99th user who signed up for this form, I'll give them a call and I'll give them a free coaching session with me and David. The 99th
Sounds like a deal.
Because it's my favorite number.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Any questions for us? Yes, there's a couple of questions.
We have only time for 2 questions, so.
Yeah, just want to understand how this is. So my question is, for example, there are multiple users who wants to develop a resume for software developer, is your example. So will it always generate a new content, or will there be repetitive statements? Because if there's repetitive, then the competition is more to pass out ATS.
That's a very nice question. So let's say you developed, if you use a very generic prompt, like JavaScript, the one that I just showed you, then there are high chances to create the repetitive bullets. And even like on online, you go there, right? Like, and if you write like, oh, JavaScript resume sample, you copy and paste, it's gonna be the same. But when you create a resume, it's about you, it's about your experience, right? So you need to give information to this AI about yourself. For example, let's say you worked on e-commerce system on JavaScript. So you just need to write, I worked on e-commerce system XYZ, and I made like XYZ thing. Then it's gonna give you bullets relevant to your experience, and that's why we have courses that will help you, and it's gonna be free courses, right? Like if you are able to access this thing, it's gonna be the free courses. So I highly recommend you, once you get the access and once we upload the courses, watch those courses, watch those tutorials, and you'll understand the engineering, resume engineering, right? I just invented a term, yeah. Resume engineering, and get the better prompts.
That's a really good question, you know, and this is the problem, right? When you see resumes, most of the time, people just write generic documents. Again, you need to take a moment to stop and really reflect on what are the things that you have done, and most importantly, the things that you have accomplished, so that you can create a really nice prompt that is going to give you a customized answer that you can include in your resume.
I always tell my students that before job search, it's always about soul search, because you need to know yourself, you need to know your things, right? Like what you have accomplished, what are your assignments, what were your projects. And if you just use generic things, you're not gonna get any job interviews, right? So be unique.
Thank
That's a
you.
YouTuber as well.
I think we have one more question. Yes.
You tell us what happens.
That's it.
to our data.
Sorry?
What happens to our data when we sign up?
So your data is secured on this tool. We are not selling any data to anyone, and we might contact you. That's why like we have terms and condition and consent, just to talk about how this tool and what were your experience using this tool and how's your job search. But this data is completely secured. We are not selling it a single data to anyone.
So as a beta user, I'll be using your product. So if I find any bugs or if I want to report any suggestion, where can I do?
So all of platforms: LinkedIn, David Mendoza, Urvish Patel; Instagram, Orbit5. Benefit: every day I post at 8:30 about job search. David, 9:15. So when you go there, click on the bell icon so you don't miss out the good tips. On Instagram, we put video content as well. So go and follow us on that. If you find anything, just send us a personal message and we'll talk. And we'll really appreciate that actually.
But sorry, at the end, we are still generating a resume that we are sending to someone. Your job is just to make sure that our resume is the best it could possibly be.
Yes.
That's correct?
Yes, that's correct. And also, machine learning has their own limitations as well. And it cannot replace humans, right? So if you still want to be sure, all you need to do once you generate your resume, once you check your score, and if you still need any human interaction, you just need to go on.
Well, you say that also is about expediting the process. So instead of you spending 1 hour in every application, you can write a resume in minutes, man, right? So that you can make things more agile, and then you can focus on bigger tasks, maybe in networking and maybe making connections with people in the target companies that you wanna go for. Okay. Sorry. Can you generate what? PowerPoint? Say that again.
Can you generate cover letters?
Oh, okay. So that's the next part, right?
That's the next part. So mostly in a couple of months, you can generate your cover letter.
Understood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
So, may I invite a small, David, we have a small piece of.
Ooh. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vimal. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
We are at the last segment, which you don't want to miss. This segment, you might not like one speaker, two, or all of them. Now, you are going to have a time with all of them together. So, we will be talking as a panel with all of the speakers. Will put different topics. They are not 20, not 20 talking
Do we have to go?
about they might talk from
Do we have to go?
community
Now?
perspective and
So we go.
So for same subject matter, how different people
Should I leave?
work, that's what we can play. So be ready with this with your questions in mind, because more than moderated questions, we will invite questions from audience, and we'll see how different people are explaining that different exposure and experiences. So. And yes, we are going to have.
You're coming with us to UFT? You're coming with us to UFT, or are you staying here?
That means we have to give away all of them. So feel free to ask a lot of questions, win a lot of prizes, and this is going to be the most engaging segment of the day. So looking forward to it. So may I invite Shudha, who was started as our keynote, and had her time, and she has interacted with many of you. Many of you had opportunity to speak to her. But for those who could not meet her, have again an opportunity to not only listen and ask a question across. May I also invite Janet, who is a Googler, a Women Tech Ambassador, who is a community builder, and and so many things she will talk about herself. I will let her talk more so that you get more insight. If you have Paul here, if Paul is still, yes, Paul, you can join us on the dais. Thank you, Paul. And we have May, who came as a guest, and we were talking and we knew about her thoughts about AI and so many articles she had written, and kind of she had a whole thought process from a business point of view.
What time do you get here?
Right now,
What time do you get
you
here?
have industrial literature.
What time do you get here?
We have community builder as Jeanette. We have
10?
Paul with working technology for technology, and we have
Yes.
little bit interest from academic side. So you have all the flavors here. So try to make best use of your segment. And we have, how can I miss? We have one seat, that's why I know. I thought Chetan left, but already heard all of them. And now, when you did not knew them, you had a thought who will be talking on what perspective they'll bring. Now they all are with you. Yep. So we have one more guest that we are gonna bring, and the guest doesn't know that we are gonna bring him because I was just told that that perspective was important. And how can we miss sustainability? So let's have Gagan there. It's a surprise for you, Gagan. Please don't do that for you on the spot. But yes, while we are talking about technology, we are talking about all aspects. Can we do it in a sustainable way? Is there any perspective to live less carbon footprint? Is there any perspective of recycling different aspects of technology while we are being a technology consumer? We are all part of the crime that is happening collectively, right? So this discussion has to happen. Having two perspective will bring only some aspects of what we are talking about. I don't think anything is best here. Now, since we have such a long panel, we are not going to have so many questions. You will have few questions, but more insights from different perspectives, right? All right. To begin with, and to set the context here, primarily we have talked about machine learning, prompt engineering, AI-based tools, and of course we are digital cloud. So we talk about cloud a lot, and anything that is based on that. Question is this new technology adoption that's happening, and the challenges, the fear. This challenges and fear is pretty much similar that was 20 years down the line. 20 years down the line, when a new technology came, IT revolution was happening, people feared loss of jobs. They felt this technology is going to override so many things. This is going to impact the basic human skills of doing simple mathematics when we have a lot of computing ability. So what are the thoughts? Is the thought same right now, or have we improved as a human from our past and have a new perspective? So my question here is our thought process changed in these last 2 decades after IT has came into our purview, or it is the same thing with different flavors? So Chetan, will go with you.
Okay. I think very interesting question. I think one of our audience member also raised the same question. So I can tell you that definitely the question is still there in the minds of the people. But what I think is there has to be a paradigm shift in the thinking. Right? It is not a job stealer. I would say AI is not your job stealer. It is basically going to push you to get out of the comfort zone and learn something that you have not been doing, and let the old things be taken care by AI. Basically, I think it's just It's kind of a tool, or you can say it's going towards being the part of the change and adopting that change. It's not going to steal your job. Don't do it. That's what I think.
So while Janet will also speak on it, so Janet, I'd like to introduce yourself in a much better than I was able to do. So because our audience has heard everybody apart from you, so maybe you can make a quick introduction so that they get the context of your problem.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Jeanette Alley. I'm a Community Program Manager for the Women Tech Makers Program in North America, as well as the Google Developer Student Hubs. So a little bit about Women Tech Makers. We are a global program. We have about 600 ambassadors in North America and over 1,000 globally. And we exist essentially to provide visibility, community, and resources for women in tech. Our ambassadors are organizers, and they help build those communities by creating content, resources, or organizing events and putting together speaking opportunities. And then for Google Developer Student Hubs, so this is a similar sort of program that exists for university students, either graduate students or postgraduate students that are interested in Google technologies and kind of learning from each other, sharing resources. And I work with all developers, but I'm not a developer myself.
Thanks, Janet. Yeah. Yeah, you can go to Siddharth.
Yeah, no, I think you wanted us to answer the question, right? Okay. So no, the way I look at it is, if you think about it, I can relate to if you think about the medical industry, right? So much technology has evolved in the medical industry. Does that mean we stop going to the doctor? We are not, right? We still will go to the doctor. Then, like, we go to our ultrasounds, mammograms, but we still need the doctor to read through and apply the knowledge and tell us, hey, you're okay, nothing's going to happen to you, or yeah, you need to do this, right? So I think it's the same thing with technology. It's only going to enable us to do things better. We will still need people, it's never going to eliminate the human interaction.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Ryan. The way I see it, remember before cars, how did we move around on wagons and horses? So when the wheel showed up and the cars showed up, a lot of previous jobs had to evolve into other jobs. And the same will happen here with AI. There is a threat from misuse of AI. There's a real, because we have advanced a lot in terms of algorithms, in terms of data collection, in terms of storage, and the policy that governs how we conduct AI is still a bit behind the progress of AI. So my advice to everybody who is thinking or using or developing AI these days is to sit down and think about the solution that's going to be created and how with that, is there any possibility of that solution to be misused? Because sometimes you have a good intent to develop an algorithm that will serve good, but it might be misused. Thank you.
I think the feeling is valid, the fear, right? And I think it's human nature. People are usually resistant to change because they fear the unexpected. And you think about it, for example, in the mid-90s when the email was introduced, and then people feel like, wait, we don't have to write letters anymore, but how's it gonna work? And people adapted to that. So I think it's very important for people to understand that, again, in addition to the technical skills, they need to hone in on specific two transferable skills, communications and adaptability, right? And how I see this is that necessarily, sure, there's gonna be roles that are going to be evolving, right, rather than maybe disappearing, right? And it's up to us to keep up with the trend. So the difference right now that we had maybe 20 years ago is that now we have unlimited access to resources. And by having conversations and by attending events like this and connecting with professionals, we can learn what are the skills that we need to develop further. and use different platforms and resources to stay on top of our game so that we are not falling behind in the trends that are happening that are inevitable. But again, I think, like you said, AI is a discipline, right? And then we need to embrace it because it's not going anywhere. It's just a way to make our lives easier.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go through the point. I think all the panelists have already mentioned, answered it very well. I'd like to reiterate David's point on adaptability and the fact that with these new technologies, we also have an opportunity to see new roles emerging, right? Prompt engineering wasn't a thing a couple of years ago, so I think we should also embrace the opportunities that that technology brings.
So sorry, I'm not. I don't come from IP and AI, but I'm a user. I'm a user of AI, and I can tell you how it has affected or changed my way of working in a good way, right? So I had, just like today, it's a surprise, and I didn't know I was on the panel. So I had a surprise that I had to deal with. I was meeting with the Ontario circular economy person, right? And I had to prepare a presentation in like 4 hours. Now I don't have all the skills to create a beautiful presentation. And I didn't want to go with like a PowerPoint. I wanted to go with like a little, video of what we're trying to achieve. And this was 8 months ago when we haven't even started. So I sat down. I downloaded like a few AI softwares. Okay, I need a photo of a hoodie with my logo on it. Create it, And then I wanted a video, I wanted a script. So my English is my second language, so I tend to make mistakes, right? But I wanted, someone to write a script. So ChatGPT wrote a script, So, and then I found a software that if you put your script, it will give you the right visuals. I said, okay, this is good. So for me, it has been working fantastic, and I'm an avid user of AI and the technology, and I believe that it's going to revolutionize the way we work. I'm not scared about losing jobs. If we do lose jobs, we're going to create a lot of jobs in a circular economy, don't we?
No, so so you can keep the mic because I will start my next question from sustainability point of view, and let's see what tech experts and industry just have to talk about it. So you did mention that you are not a tech person, but you are a consumer, and you are such a consumer who wants the easiness of doing business, easiness of doing the work. If something is solving, if something is solve the problem, you 4 hours work in like 5 minutes, you will love to do so. But from a consumer point of view, also, do you find yourself sometimes in fear that these technologies are actually harming us in a way or other? From the delivery point of view, like people talk about the data center that is there on the cloud, they are emitting a lot of carbon, lot of carbon footprints are there. So when you hear all this and you're from the consumer, just a third person, you're not even over there, you're just consuming it. So you see some concern arising from consumer point of view?
I always believe it depends on who's using the technology. Right? Good minds or bad minds. Good minds will make good things out of it. Bad minds will create bad things out of it. I always think like that. So for me, as a user point of view, I'm at the end. I think good minds always win. So I'm not too scared of what's going to happen to our jobs and things like that. As a user, I do believe that AI is going to revolutionize a lot of things in all the industries. So we should adopt this as soon as possible. We should be excited about this, and we should have a lot of fun with this.
All right, thanks. So, my follow-up question is that for Paul, because now Paul is not a non-IT person, he is a tech person. Now, the tech person is also a technology consumer at the same time. So he has kind of seen both of the worlds, right? He understands both sides of it. he stands from he can take both positions, right? Why should be there from the clinical point of view. So Paul, when you consume technology and you are a tech person yourself, and you know better than others what it is about, right? How do you feel about it? When you see some concerns that equally concern you, like being an aware person compared to others who are not so aware but still concerned?
I think so, yes. It's definitely concerning, but at the same time, I am aware of some of the progress that some of these data centers, for example, are making in enabling their data centers to run more efficiently or to train the algorithms more efficiently. So I'm very keen on monitoring some of these improvements, and I think as a user or as a consumer of technology, as long as you're using it for good, I think it's a trade-off that we can live with.
Nice. David, your thoughts? You are somebody who is translating technology into use cases, something usable. Right. In that process, how do you get it around?
So I can relate to what you said. I'm not a technology person, so I'm a people person, not a communicator, but I'm partnered with a tech extraordinary person, right? So then my job is to do my best to understand what are my limitations, right, in terms of technology, and try to get the foundation so that I understand how my product works and how can I promote it effectively to the people that I talk about with it. So sure, again, the concerns are valid, right? The concerns are valid because then these things are coming into our lives in such high speed that sometimes it's like difficult to keep up with everything that's happening. But I think in 2023, it's inevitable. So I think the best thing that we could do to again embrace this is surround ourselves with people who can give us the best insights into how can we adapt easily so that we are able to use this to the best of our capacity. I agree. I think there's more people who have the desire to use these technologies and these evolutionary approaches for the growth and the betterment of society. So sure, there are going to be people who are going to be using it for the wrong purposes, but I think that's something that we have to deal and hope the people who have the best interest on our societies is the other ones going to prevail.
Let's put some academic perspective, right?
Academic stuff. Okay. So I do have some concerns. Now, I think all of you've heard of the term deep learning and the ability of the machines to learn we don't even do feature engineering. All we do in that case is just give it numeric representation. If we tend to train in parallel hundreds of networks with a lot of data, the power of learning will increase. And that is something that we should watch. I haven't seen any controls yet on this. All what we are seeing right now is 1 or 2 deep learning networks with petabytes of data, and we're very happy. Where I worry is if we start doing it in parallel and couple that with robotics, there we might have some concerns. Okay.
Industry, the most acclaimed one, the most, we thought to be guilty of doing so many things. I don't know, I'm going to say I'm wrong, but mostly we believe it's the industry which is causing it. So, being in a position of industry leader, who is a promoter of technology in a way, a lot of questions come directly to you. How do you deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, your point about the concerns around the sustainability, right? I think there will be another version of Fixer, which will fix that for us, or someone else will come up with it. Because these are the opportunities I think that will open up, right, as we are faced with these kind of challenges. If there's no solution available, someone will have to come to it. So That's what I would look for.
Community definitely has a larger say when it comes to consciousness, the broader consciousness, and that is where your role is very relevant in it. So certainly your thoughts are important.
Yeah, and I think, just like you said, in terms of sustainability, if there's an issue, we'll find a resolution to it. I think taking a step back and just looking at the growth in the industry itself in like the past 20 years. So there's some ambassadors that I work with, and when they were, in their university life, they were the only women in their class. And now there's students that I work with where there's, maybe more than 20% of the class is women. So there is growth, there is development that's happening. Obviously with AI, just like when the internet was first introduced, there's a lot of reservation and hesitation with something unknown. But like you yourself said, if there's some jobs that might not be needed anymore, there's obviously a lot of room created for new jobs and newer roles. And that's kind of exciting to me, like working with different students and just seeing so many of them be women or from different diverse backgrounds, and just like all the new opportunities that are being created with AI, with machine learning. I think it's an exciting time.
So yeah, sustainability is obviously a field which, whenever a new product is launched, is taken into account. However, I think not enough emphasis is given right now. But I would like to highlight, there are two examples, real-world examples, where people are trying to solve this issue. Right? I know one is Microsoft, where they have started building underwater data centers. So the major reason behind this is to give it naturally cooling technology, right? Instead of spending, so much money on air conditioners and releasing so many harmful CO2 gases, and so in order to solve that, they have started researching underwater data centers. That is one how people are tackling it. Second, with Google's perspective, I work a lot on infrastructure. So something that I'm aware of, large capacity CPUs and GPUs, TPUs are required to process these models. To get a single output, there are so many computations performed in the background. So Google has adopted, green ways of producing electricity, and we claim that by 2030 we will be at a stage where we will be carbon neutral in terms of producing CO2 gases. I think that's a big move, and from this, companies other than Google will also try to learn and try to adapt.
So Gagan, this should give you a satisfaction that yes, there are a lot of people who are thinking about it, working constantly, and we can see really good things happening because everybody's conscious about it. People who are beyond the technology side or beyond the consumer side, I feel looks like from the answer that everybody has that thought that how we can be more sustainable, how we can reduce the carbon footprint, and whatever we can do about it. If we cannot do anything about it, somebody like me, if I have to think, at least I would put it across the dialogue to get insights.
By the way, Google also provides certain incentives for using certain regions where electricity is produced using green resources. So the rates are cheaper for creating a VM in certain regions where they use solar energy, and it's more where you use regular energy.
Nice. I guess that was definitely could be a new information and exciting information for many of us. I will kind of start with an open mic question after my last question pretty much. I have this question. If you don't ask, I have a lot of questions. So, but take that opportunity and keep some questions fine. But I don't let go without talking about women in tech particularly. So when we started with this structure of discussing technology, it was for a way weekend. I had my personal passion that whatever is happening, I should be aware about it. I do not want to be an expert. I can get expertise in the area where I have to take it forward. But the best thing I can do with myself is to be aware. And to be aware, I have to discuss with activities like this, and that's my first motivation why I'm here and what I'm doing right now. But at the same time, from the Google ecosystem, we also understood that we have very less women representation in technology. And we had our internal discussion. It was just not like a private discussion, but more than that, that is it happening organically? Is it like in that women are not interested in technology, or there is some other socio-political economic reasons which is impacting it? If it is happening organically, fair enough. Anyone, any individual, if they want to have a career of choice, that's fine. But if it is happening because of some reason, at least we can have some dialogue about it. I'm not saying that we can come together in a day and solve a problem, but at least talk about it so that somebody can bring a solution if I don't have one. On that note, Chetan, again, because and women in tech doesn't necessarily mean that women have to talk about it. We all coexist. So any problem that's there, the shared problem. So we will talk about it all together. So Chetan, your thoughts, how do you see, you may have seen things transitioning from rural point of view, individual, you can say your thoughts there.
Right. I think this is a major concern that a lot of NGOs are also trying to address. I think we have an example here who's kind of promoting women in tech. But I think one of the major reasons as I see it is lack of education. There are regions where people do not get proper education and don't know the benefits of why we should kind of push our daughters, sisters and mothers to get themselves educated. I think social background and kind of environment you have been born and brought up plays a very important role. So the best what we can do is create a safe environment and a very supportive environment towards people we know, first of all, rather than helping everyone. Start small and then grow big. And that is something we can do for it.
Nice.
So I think in terms of creating that awareness or trying to push for actually taking a step back, I do think there is growth. I do think there's a lot more women in leadership positions. There's a lot more women, not just in the tech industry, but across the board. That you'll see a more diverse, diverse group of women, I guess, from say 20 years ago. But I think it's a conscious thing that, as organizers or as positions of authority, you have to request that and you kind of have to push for that. And I think it's socioeconomic or cultural situations that kind of come into play. But there's a lot of power in community and resonating with someone who might have shared a similar experience to you, or seeing someone go through, a certain path in life that you can resonate with, and then seeing women in that position kind of inspires younger women to go into either, a career in STEM or a career in machine learning. And I think slowly there is change, but you have to advocate for it on a personal level, like in everything I do. If there's if I'm working with an organizer on an event and they have a panel put together, I try to kind of suggest things like, why not have a diverse panel of speakers, or bring some different perspectives in. Just like we've done this panel here, it's always good to have a diverse conversation or have a diverse group of perspectives, just because then it kind of, there's just so much more opportunity that comes from that. So I think it's something conscious, something everyone has to do on a day-to-day basis, and just be conscious about it and, pave the way, I guess.
Absolutely.
I think both of you kind of covered quite a few of the points that I wanted to say, but I will say as leaders, right, diversity and inclusion is very important. And in everything that we do, just like you said, we have to think about, are we getting the diversity of thought? Because just because you're a woman, you will think this way, or you're a man, you will think this way. That's not how it should be. I think every single thought, every single idea needs to be respected. And I feel like, sometimes things which I can think of, especially around people and caring about people, may not be the same that my male ally might know, because inherently I'm a mom, I have a caring nature. So they may think of that perspective, and it's not intentional, right? And same way, maybe they think of something in a different way, and I'm too emotional. So I think in every discussion, everything that we do, we have to have that diversity of thought across. And see this panel here, if you see, we have a good representation here. I'm really proud to see it. I'm so glad you joined us. So yeah, no, I totally agree with both of you. Awareness is very much important, and I feel that a lot of progress has been made in this 20 years from where I started my journey to now. I can see more and more girls getting into STEM and getting into technology. There are more opportunities. I think we as companies are also recognizing that and consciously making the decision to hire women in technology, and which is only going to get better. I think that's.
Yeah, so totally agree with everything, what they covered. I work as a professor, I teach artificial intelligence and software engineering. So my college invites the students, grade 9 to 12 every year to come and experience. And we go in and we give lectures to these students. And I look, we don't see any girls, most of it. So it's like a perception that engineering is only for boys. So awareness is something that we need to spread at an early stage, because before grade 9, else that's what is happening right now. One of the things we are doing is we are now doing girls events and hopefully spread more awareness.
I think it comes down to community building and mentorship, right? So, and I think we have a big advantage living in a city like Toronto. You see this room. This is like a microcosmos of the world in one single room, right? It's super diverse. So I think it comes down to taking initiative. One person, if there's some misrepresented population or community that maybe are not getting access to this in an obvious manner, right? Mentorship is needed. So I think this is a beautiful initiative to bring people from high school, right? And then start giving them the exposure so that women say, you know what, I can be here too. I can get there too. I can see this person as a role model, and I can get there as well. So I think it comes down to this. So building community, mentorship, and then having a vision of also from an altruistic point of view of reaching out to maybe these communities or these organizations who are doing their best to support misrepresented communities to give them more access to this.
Yeah, I appreciate the history, and I think that we have definitely come a long way from how it used to be. I agree with everything that the panelists have spoken about so far, and one little thing I would like to add is that also at the personal and individual level, we need to, if we see something, we need to say something. So if someone is being excluded, at the personal level, we need to take that initiative and ensure that women are represented in all that we do.
So as we know that I come from a different industry, so in my world, it's all women. It's opposite. It's exact opposite. But I would answer this question as inclusive, right? So how can we become inclusive in our jobs or whatever we do? So I believe there's always a roadblock, either in your own mind that you cannot do that job, or someone who's hiding you, there's a roadblock in their mind. So I think we need to work as a society to remove those roadblocks. Like, if you don't mind, I'll share your example. Like your father said, you know, you're a girl, so you should go. I think that's a roadblock.
You should be a doctor.
That should be, you know what I mean? So I think that that's a roadblock in our mind that we have to remove. Okay. Sometimes it could be the roadblock in someone who's hiding you. So as a society, we need to identify those blocks and remove them and work as one inclusive society.
Thanks, Gavin. So pretty much on the combined note, one thing I actually want to say before opening the mic is that listen to the story. Everybody has got a story that's impactful. It doesn't sound. We get context when we listen to it. Understanding information in silos is never great. So when you know something is happening, somebody is reaching up the ladder. So that's an example. Like what kind of challenges she might have faced on she knows. Now, if we have learned our to that, she's already done it. She crossed it, she passed it out, right? She did whatever she had to do. But for us to learn, all we have to do is to take some time and listen to some stories. It's not only about Sudha. Like, there are many people who are leading industry in a way, leading in a way where every day they have challenges, every day they keep busy, and every day they meet. Sometimes there are facts also, which those are acceptable. So idea is to learn from each other, and stories are a very powerful medium. That is what I personally believe, and I believe many of you have been. On that note, let me open it for the audience, because Ram just said, if you ask everything, you ask everything, which I don't want to do. So we have swags, yes. So hand over the mic, please.
Hi, my question is Sudha. So, hi Sudha, you are a women in leadership position. So, just wanted to know, like in your whole career till now, have you ever felt that you have to work or you have to prove yourself more than your male colleagues, or you have to like work harder than them to reach there or to advance in your career? What do you think? Absolutely. Yeah, I think I may have said that when I did my coaching, right? Yeah, I felt many times I was invisible in the room. Doesn't matter which level. And as you move up in your career and get into more executive roles, it doesn't get better. But when we become more self-aware, I think we have to take charge of how we present ourselves and build that confidence. And believe that every single person has a point to make, and you have to raise your voice. That's sometimes on us too, honestly. It's not just, we don't want to play the victim card all the time, right? That's not fair to our male athletes, right? We can't do that. So we have to take ownership. But initially, I definitely felt that way, because in my initial phases of my career, right, I was definitely the minority. But as I kind of grew in my career, I have seen a lot more women leaders, and especially at Thomson Reuters, I can say we have made a very conscious effort to bring in more women talent and promote women talent. And it's very gratifying to see that you know that the diversity of thought is being given a consideration. So definitely there have been times where I've come out of a meeting or a discussion and said, was I even there? Like I even messaged even in the last couple of months in one of the meetings, I messaged my boss and I said, did you even realize I was there? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, but you know, I was trying to make my point, but then sometimes when you do that, you are labeled passive aggressive, right? So there's a very fine line. Again, being self-aware and handling it in a very professional way is important.
Hi everyone. My question is open to all. I'm a non-techie person. I'm into digital marketing. But as professionals who are in the leadership role in technology, when you get this question that is AI going to replace us? And the inevitable answer that comes up is no, it's not. Right? So my question is, how do we leverage AI? And what are its shortcomings so that we as job seekers can fill in that place?
I can speak on that. So with I have a background in marketing as well, and I think I wouldn't look at AI as something that's coming in for your job, but more so something that's coming in to make you more efficient. So as a person, as an individual, you have that human element that AI doesn't have. And that's your strength, the power of emotion, the power of making people relate to you. And that's what marketing is all about. It's about getting people emotionally connected. And so AI might help you with a tracker and make you a bit more efficient with your calendar, but ultimately you're bringing in that creativeness to whatever marketing problem is that you're looking to solve. And I think that's something that you should focus on and hone in on, and let AI take care of the little admin tasks that kind of slow you down.
So the AI tool that you are scared of has been also developed by somebody that needs skill. So better develop those skills. So that's one of the solutions. One of the solutions maybe around more On that note, impress our guests with your question because they will nominate a gift to somebody's question they would like most. All right, can we have somebody?
Can I?
Yep. Subject line.
Yes. Hi, my name is Marina. There's always been raised a question about not enough regulation in AI, and today we have speakers from different domains like fashion, education, and technology. What I want to ask, is this a normal practice in your work environment to use and encourage employees to use large LLMs like ChatGPT as their day-to-day work tasks? And if yes, do you have certain guidance and regulation in your workspace regarding what you can or cannot input into IE in order to protect company-sensitive data? And is this an acute concern for you, like leaders in different domains?
Yeah, definitely a great question. And that was the first thing that came to our mind when we opened up ChatGPT. And there are strict guidelines on what we can put into that as our developers or any employees are using it. There's strict governance that has put in place. But of course, there's always a concern, and can we do better? Can we get better? Yes, we have to. But yes, we have started using it. Of course, we don't have, we are investing heavily in AI. Within Thomson Reuters, we have some POCs and some tools which have been rolled out, but all of them are being reviewed under those governance and guidelines.
All right. So,
Can I take it? Can I take this?
Sorry.
So my field is career development. Yes, and we use ChatGPT every single day. And we tell our clients, we encourage them to use ChatGPT, but we encourage them as well to take it with a grain of salt. Because you can write a prompt, and then ChatGPT can give you the answer, but it's up to you, right? It's about really to assess if the answer that the tool is giving you is a true representation of what you have achieved, and it really represents accurately your career trajectory and your history. So it's up to you to make the changes if need be. Now, we were invited to talk to a group of career development practitioners back in the summer. And there were like 80 people. Sorry. 80 people in the webinar. And these are people who are helping job seekers on a daily basis. And I asked the question, raise your hand if you have used ChatGPT. 80% of them have never used ChatGPT and have never heard of it. And the ones that have heard of it were really scared that ChatGPT was going to get their jobs. And my job was to tell them it's not. It supplements your work, and it actually makes it easier for you because, again, you can expedite the process that someone as a job seeker, the time that they spend drafting a resume, trying to come up with potential interview questions, writing a cover letter, trying to get a template to network with someone that want to reach out to for insights, right? So we use it on a daily basis. But again, we encourage people to reassess if it is a true representation of other values.
So I can share what we're doing. So there's two sides here. There's the corporate side where we have a lot of departments, and some departments have already deployed, but it also depends on what type of AI. So if you're deploying a predictive model versus a generative model. I know other departments that already have a list of applications of AI and are still building the policy around it. Now comes the other side, the academia side, and that is in the classroom. Are we going to allow ChatGPT to be used by students? And I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes or no? Hands up if you say yes. Yeah. So I was asked if I had been termed correctly, and I told them, yeah, you want to use ChatGPT, but think well of the answer that it's going to give you. Okay. But do we have the policy there still being I think we are implementing faster than policy. That's how we.
I'd like to add to the concern that we have for using these LLM models in our organization. When you use public-facing LLM models like BARD and ChatGPT, I know for sure BARD is not one of them, but you use ChatGPT in your organization. For example, what will a developer search? Maybe he will search a query, how to query a certain thing in a database. But when you are doing this, the regulations that these guys are talking about, what are those regulations that are introduced? When you enter any prompt in an LLM model, what it does is it will save that data for its own learning. It will not share it with third party though, but it will learn from that. And no organization will want other models to be trained on their data. Right? So what you search is a very important thing, and that is why these people are putting policies in place. That is the only restriction I would say. But otherwise, if you want to draft an email, of course, we encourage it. Don't waste your time in operations. Get ahead, do some other work.
I mean, it depends on the use case.
Hi. I just have a question that I just would kind of be nervous with. It comes from when I saw Jeffrey Hinton at the Context Collision Conference. He said that data sets are biased or can be biased, like to the so I guess my question would be, what can you do to reduce bias within data? And like where would prompt engineering come into that, or what else could be done?
So, would like to answer? I have no comment answer, but anyone?
Well, thank you. That's a really good question. I mean, fairness, bias. Actually, AI ethics is an area that needs to be. Well, first you have to look at your use case and look at the data that you're going to be using for your use case to train a certain model. And what would be the parameters that you think might cause bias? Let's say that you're building a model for a bank to approve loans. Do you think the gender might affect? Because we're learning machines from this data. So if that's the case, then you're going to have to offset that variable. Okay. Maybe in another model, the gender, you don't care. Like it doesn't affect the end result of your use case. The way you represent the data, sometimes the pre-processing step for a certain column, for example, let's say you have a color, hair color of patients, and you want to do some clustering. In that case, you're going to have to change it into numerics. Should you just go and say black is 1, brown is 2? That might create bias. Because if you're using a clustering algorithm that uses equality and distance, what will happen, the color that you give it 5 will be considered better than the color that you give it 3. So it depends on the use case and on the nature of the data, and it should be examined. Okay?
Hi everyone, thank you very much for sharing your insights today. My question is also related to ethics in CS, particularly with respect to usage intent. A lot of the new AI models that are being developed is that they're taught or trained to avoid answering certain types of questions that might be unethical by society. However, this can introduce an unintentional bias in the solutions that are being proposed, right? And this kind of goes against the vision of technology that an information that should be free of bias and accessible by all. So how do you think that training of these models can be improved or used so that this bias can be eliminated or reduced as much as possible?
Question for somebody. Is it question for someone specific or in general you want to ask from anyone?
Generally, I think he can might be best here to answer this one.
So yeah, I think bias can lead to catastrophe. Right? That's what I think in AI can be very detrimental to life because there are so many healthcare driving things going on, working on AI. So how to reduce bias? That's a question. So like Very explained that based on the use case, there are certain models you have to select. Whether it's a classification problem, whether you're going to use a regression model. So based on your use case, you have to be very specific on selecting the right model. Once you select the model, after that, when you're training that model, there are ways you can de-bias that model. You can fine-tune the model based on various parameters, based on various probability filtering, based on a lot of top K, top E. These are some parameters which you have to fine-tune. And how will you do that? That is there are certain AI approach in Google Cloud which provides you to de-bias these things. So you can use cloud for that, or if you are doing it the traditional way, then it's a bit hard. Yeah, but this is possible. You can apply guardrails to your model, how you want to train it, and how biased or how random you want it to be. So you have to fine tune based on your use case actually.
So this is the last question.
Yeah, we'll take the last question. Just a suggestion regarding the pricing question. When you ask a question on ChatGPT, for a controversial question, mention one more tagline as part of prompt engineering. Give me a politically correct answer. So obviously give you a different answer. So biasing is in our society. We are the one who are biased. We are the one who are feeding in data, right? So anything that is talking about is a collective social conscience that it's talking about. That is beyond individual, that's like it is powerful. It's powerful because it's collective. And we see ourselves as individuals, we see that as like so much information, but that's like collective information, right? We are feeding in a lot of collective information that is going as a something not accepted to us broadly, but we are contributing to it. Unless we stop contributing something that bias or something controversial or something that, it will keep showing that. So if we don't want it, let's not contribute to it. Every individual has to take some fall on that. That are we directly adding to that bias in one other way? If yes, let's take a by the call. What do you want to do? Last question, yes.
So my question is from Ketan, right? Ketan, there is other side of internet that is known as dark web, right? So are these GPT's models or generative AI models are trained on the dark web? And if yes, that information should not be provided to users, right? What is your take on that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the known internet that we see is just, I would say, just the pinnacle of the iceberg. But I don't think it is being trained on dark web in any way. Also, there are a lot of sentimental analysis done over these models to ensure that the results that it is giving is very neutral and not biased, as we say. But yeah, it is not being trained on the dark web, because if it was so, I mean, I'm sure you would have seen the results, right? Where to buy the gun from, and you would have seen so many addresses. So yeah, I don't think that's the case.
The thing is, the information is publicly accessible, right? So you have seen the Tor browser, Onion browsers that are publicly available, and some websites that are banned, click guide, Silk Root, or Onion, right? They were banned, but this data is publicly available.
Yeah. So see, Tor browser, I agree. It can be used as a portal to dark web. However, major of the people who are using even Tor browser are using it for VPN purpose. It's not access to dark web. Dark web is not something that you can just. It's not a URL that you can directly access.
But it's a pretty much a big URL that has some Onion extension.
I think there are certain regulations in place which does not allow that. Because otherwise, even Google search has been running for so long, it could have access. That's not the case.
Yeah, thank you. And my second question.
Thank you so much for your speeches. Has really been amazing. You spoke on inclusion and diversity, directly resonates with me as I'm invisible minority. But the question I want to ask is about students using AI. Do you believe students should be allowed to use AI? Because I believe sometimes we are not able to compare our thoughts very well, and AI just helps us to how do I put it? So you know what you want to say, but just helps you word it very well and you're able to communicate effectively with people. I mean, yes, some might argue that you're losing your writing skills, but I feel like that can be something separate. We can develop those skills and focus on writing grammar. So, but do you believe students should be allowed to use AI to convey their thoughts? Thank you.
I'm going to give my perspectives as a professor here at Brown College. I think students should be allowed to use AI for a couple of reasons. I know someone who is from Mexico. He's taking a social service worker program, and he has a very hard time writing essays because of what you mentioned, the grammar situation. So when ChatGPT came to the picture, it saved his life. And it's not his plagiarizing anything, it's just his proofreading the text. And the teacher challenged him, because the teacher understands and knows that that's not his writing style. So it was up to him to advocate for himself, right? And say, yes, I am using ChatGPT because you're deducting marks every time I give you an essay because of my grammar. I struggle writing this because English is not my first language. So I think in that regard, it should be allowed. Now, it's up to the student as well, right? If you're gonna plagiarize an essay and then you're gonna come up with an essay in 2 minutes, and you're gonna submit it, and the teacher for some reason didn't realize that you got it, that is not your work, you lose at the end of the day. It's not the teacher who loses, it's you, right? Because then, okay, you got an A+, but when you go to a job interview and you're gonna talk about this project, you cannot defend anything. So it's, again, I think it should be allowed. There should be guidelines, of course, but it should be allowed, especially, for example, for international communities that are getting marks deducted because their English is. That's mine.
I totally agree with it. And I can give you another use case. Coders and developers. And I think most of you have heard of Copilot. So why not? Because in real life, when they graduate and go to a company, they're going to be using this tool. So it's up to the professor to frame a question in a way that the student will take the basics from Copilot and will have to do a few amendments around it. But it will train them to use AI practically when they graduate.
And I just want to add the Copilot, right? Within TR, we are actually doing a pilot with Copilot to see how it's going to help us gain efficiencies. It doesn't mean it's going to take away your job, because you need to know coding in order to use Copilot, right? So there are advantages of doing that, and we have to go use case by use case.
Hi, thank you so much for the information, and David and everyone. I'm glad that you're saying that students should use AI. Well, I'm a student myself and I have been using AI. But I think that it is like reducing our opportunity to brainstorm, because we have become so lazy. We get the assignment, we copy paste it and go there. And I think if the AI wouldn't have been there, then the group assignment, we five would have actually sat, brainstormed and came up with a solution all the root cause problems. So do you think that this is the right direction that the generation is going in? Right, especially the students. So I don't know, but I believe that AI should be not used for students, at least in the education purposes. But as mentioned, there are some cases where students are getting benefited, but on the other hand, it's very critical, because our mindset, we are reducing our mindset, we are reducing the capability to think, to generate issues, to generate solutions for the issues. And tomorrow, while we are going in a company, we are sitting in a board meeting, and someone asks a question, like, oh, wait a second, let me just read it here. We can't do that. We have to be up top, we have to be ready. So what would be your suggestion to that? I try my best to not GPT, but it's just a try. I end up doing it.
Yes. So now, okay, it's a very interesting point, right? Because then again, I think in this case, it's up to the professor at the guidance the professor provides when they are delivering the content, and tell the student, okay, so you have this tool and I cannot do anything about preventing you from using it because it's there. And you know the human nature was prohibited. It's what you go for, right? But it's up to the professor to tell them and guide them. Look, this exists. But you have two options. Option one, you just rely on this thing, you come up with your project or your assignment in 1 hour, or you take the less work path, and then you brainstorm, you take the time, you bounce ideas with one another, customize, and then once done, then use it to supplement the work that you're doing, right? So I think it's also a lot of leadership within academia, right? To guide the students properly, how to use these technologies. Again, it's not going to be anywhere. And if the schools do not adapt like the students have to adapt, then we're gonna be like clashing all the time.
That actually makes sense, because in that way we can check on our work before even submitting, and we will know if we are going in the right direction instead of blindly following it.
And again, we're adults, right? Students probably young, but we're adults. It's about choices. So if you're paying thousands of dollars to train yourself in a certain area, right? And then you just want to sit down and then come up with your assignments in 5 minutes with ChatGPT, and then you're wasting your investment, right? So then it's personal choices coupled with guidance.
Thank you so much for your guidance.
Next time you chat GPT, you get an answer, you write over it, I can write it up and give an answer. So you can compete with it. Alright, having said that, this brings to a close. So what's going to happen next 5 to 7 minutes is, we have multiple guests, and as I mentioned earlier, whom you have impacted or inspired with a question, or your question was significantly remembered by our panelists. So our panelists will recall, they don't need to recall your face or name, or they will just recall the question. And whosoever has asked that question will have the prize. So questions that were impactful to you.
Okay. So the question on bias.
I was going to pick that too.
I'm very interested in bias.
Yeah. Because it really can cause disasters if it's not addressed to the beginning.
Especially within healthcare. I want to focus on AI ethics within applications in healthcare. So yeah, that's definitely my main
Can you come over and, yeah, May, since you remember the question, you can take it to her.
Sorry.
Okay, the next question that our panelists can recall.
Academics.
Yeah. So we have a question from academics, right from there, right in the corner. I guess you have a pen who had asked a question from academics. If you can come over here for a prize and you can have a comment.
All right.
A small token of appreciation.
One more.
All right. Do we have any other question that our panelists found impactful and they feel like appreciating that?
I would like to go with courage. I mean,
all right.
I'll tell you why, because it takes courage for
someone to say I'm using it.
Yeah. I want to get this mark
and it's not helping.
It takes courage. It takes courage. You have to be honest to yourself. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. Thank you.
One more.
Thank you. So we have one more last game, and then we'll have a group photo here. So if anybody can recall any other question that you find is worth appreciating. All right, so our team says we have more. Can do more. It's up to our panelists to recall the question and give the gift.
It's a test for us. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that question was the big question. 45% right. Yeah. But if anybody wants the second one, I said probably yes.
Yeah.
Great. Marina?
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, it's all about the impact we are making, right? We ask the question, we answer it, we just forget the name and the topic. So for everybody to remember, maybe you can tell again what question you had asked.
I asked about regulation and about using AI at workspace.
Yeah. I get pictures everywhere. Yes, you come. We're in the middle.
Don't move. One more.
Okay, okay, now it's not equivalent. There's bias in the picture. Isn't that a reverse bias?
All right. Last prize for somebody who can just come over here and share 3 key learnings you had throughout the day. Somebody who attended all of it, real quick. Yes, please. You can come here and talk about 3 key learnings that you had today. And somebody in the room from the last row remembering like all of the key elements.
I know.
You deserve it. Anyway.
He raised his hand and didn't get a chance to ask the question.
But this committee recognizes even the last row person. So there you go.
One of them was taking action, making sure that we take care of ourselves and make sure we continue learning. The other one was from yourself as well, making sure that that AI is not going to take over our jobs and that it's pretty much secured. And the other one was from yourself. Tiering material could affect the entire economy, so having recyclable material is very good for the economy, and we should take care of ourselves and the clothing that we have. So, yeah.
All right, Gagan. If you can do the honor, thank you so much.
Looking to the left. Don't move. Hold on. One more. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much. And with this, let's get into some of the fun mode. Let's have a group picture together. We have so many props made by our volunteers and by the team who have spent a lot of time, building, thinking, designing, whatnot, innovation. Not everybody are a tech person. Some of them are like artists, social media, knowledgeable person. Some of them are like designers. So when we talk about technology, one thing we say, and I guess Ram already said at the beginning, technology is for everyone. Everybody has got a stake in this. We all are not only consumers, we are also contributors. You may be aware of it, or you may not be aware of it. So the very first thing, as I mentioned, I do for myself, let's make ourselves aware, because you should not be part of something that you don't know. So you are part of it already. You are part of the big data, the cosmic data that we have today, and your every activity that you are doing is making an impact. So many years down the line, there was a concept of garbage data. 90% data is not useful, let's garbage it out. Today, even if you're scrolling something or doing anything, pointing something on a product, it's very informative data. Now, how it can go through, hardly any data can be said is not important. Now, we are progressing in a different way. So, let's collect together and celebrate technology at the same time, take all the right caution. Join us, whatever way you want to. This community is more about sharing knowledge with each other. Nobody is an expert here. This all is built through different aspects that we bring on the table. We do not see any of you as headcounts who is coming here as participants. We see you as our prospective speakers, sponsors, vendors. Somebody wants to build something, somebody wants to collaborate. So this is the community we are all about. On that note, let me call it a day, and let's come for a group picture over here. Maybe, okay, I guess we have something. Alright, so we have a guest for May who can come across because she was kind enough, who was not only prepared, we got her as a guest, was kind enough to be our panelist and has actually shared a lot of insights. So a small token of appreciation for May.
Thank you.
And yes, for your time, for your work that you do. And just to let you know, Janet is not only our guest, she is also a host in a way, because she has helped us organize this event. She has helped us in all different perspectives. She is part of our broader team. Very good support and a support. So we have done a lot of stuff actually. And we have one more guest for somebody who was right here in the building, not in this room, conducting DevOps workshops right here across the day. And single-handedly, he has kind of shown his knowledge and shared his understanding with hundreds and hundreds of students. May I have Puneet here, please? Thank you so much. And a very special thanks, like you may see this t-shirt, right, you can recognize. So just believe that these all people that you see here, all of them donating their time, investing their skills, they could have done anything, they have spent numerous hours with us. So a couple of people whom I would like to particularly acknowledge. We have Aditya who are here behind the camera. He is vice president. So he's planning above in that capturing our moment. He's himself is a tech professional, and his passion of photography and his commitment. Usually we have to ask water for him. He will not move from his place when he's over there. So a small round of applause for Aditya. He has done an immense job. And not to forget our photographer who has been capturing all the moments with Aditya. So these are the people who are making our Instagram so lively. These are the people who are making our adding colors, to something that we are not the best representative. They sometimes bring best picture of us that we love for a long time. Our LinkedIn has got how proud we feel about it. So these are the skills that is needed. So thank you so much for all you do. And on the same note, we have dozens of volunteers. Big round of applause all the volunteers who have donated time. We're not just great for this, but they have invested in the house. They have not done anything in this time, but they chose to stay with us and make a meaningful connect and understand. So thank you so much, everyone. Let's come for our picture over here. Let's come closer so that we can have a picture with our panelists and speakers.
Just go on the other side. Everybody, come down and just stand on this side, right? And facing the screen. Yeah, go for that. We'll take a picture.
Yeah, I really get
Yeah, I used to work with Lakshya for various
Ishani.
Go up on the chair.
Remember, like I used to tell her, like somebody I'm picking up from the school.
Yeah. Oh.
So she speaks like logical reasoning, everything. Oh, look at this.
Just my first name and then
First, second, third.
So everyone, I'm gonna take the picture from here. You guys can just all pose over there. Aditya, join us, please. Everybody go.
oh yeah.
Small in the front, tall in the back. Small in the front, tall in the back. I'll bring the volunteers as well. Taking the group picture, you guys want to group picture. Last group picture. Guys, group picture going on. Squeeze in, guys, like as much as you could. We are out of COVID restrictions. Yeah. Thank you. Everyone squeeze in. Everyone smile. 3, 2, 1. Everyone look here. Yeah. Got it? You want to show it? Maybe the back people put up your hands. They go put up their hands. Everyone just look excited, okay? 3, 2, 1. All right, last one. Everyone's going to do GDG on the count of from 1, 2, 3. Everyone's going to say GDG, okay? 1, 2, 3. GDG. Wow. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Thank you, guys. Absolutely. Absolutely.